Hey guys, welcome to our channel, the Dysfunctional Fam. You know, where every day is dysfunctional. If you don't know me by now, my name is Casera. I'm the mom of the family. If you're a subscriber, we love you guys so much and thank you so much for the support. And if you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing to our channel. We post vlogs, story time, skits, pranks, all of the above. Hit that subscribe button and that bell notification to get notified for future videos. So in this story time, I'm going to be telling you guys about the time I was held against my will, aka kidnapped, for a week. This is the second part to my I Snitched video. If you haven't watched that video, go watch that video. I'll put the link down in the description because in order to understand this video, you'll have to know what happened in that video. So, bouncing off of the first video I snitched, the cop had told me in that video that I needed to find him and let them know whenever I seen him or had contact with them, or I would be held responsible for everything and they would arrest me again. So Mike, the guy in the video, had contacted me, told me to meet him at his mom's house, take a pair of clothes, and whichever. So I was like, okay. So I went to my mom and my sister-in-law at the time, and I was like, listen, I have to do this for the cops or I'm going to go to jail. You guys got to watch my daughter and my son, and I'll be back tomorrow because I need to get him with the cops. So they agreed to watch my daughter. I gave my sister-in-law the number to the cop, and she put his name in her phone as Life. Why she put Life in there, I really don't know. But she did that, so if I contacted her or anything, or if anything happened to me, she could contact the police officer and let them know what was going on. When I got to Mike's mom's house, he picked me up, and then we went to an apartment complex where he was staying at. Right when we walked in, it was really weird because there was another guy there, and then there was his friend and his girlfriend there, and we were all in this one-bedroom apartment, and he took my phone from me. And he smashed it, and then he opened it, and he took the battery out, and like all this crazy stuff. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, you're not going anywhere, and the cops can't trace us with this. And I was like, what do you mean I'm not going anywhere? I have to go home to the kids. He was like, no, we can't go. And if you guys know, he used to beat me up really bad. So it's not like I could be like, what do you mean I'm not going? I'm leaving. I'm getting out of here. I couldn't do that because I knew what the consequences would be of me trying to get out. So I was like, okay, whatever. So the first night we were there, we were just in the apartment. The second night we were there, we were just in the apartment. We weren't going nowhere. Finally, everybody had ran out of cigarettes. So where we were at in the apartments, in front of the apartment complex, there was a Rite Aid there. Nobody could leave the house because they were pretty much all wanted. So they told me to go and get cigarettes. So mind you, I've been in this apartment for 2 days, haven't seen daylight, haven't gone outside, haven't done anything. So I was like, okay, I'll go. You know, in my mind, I'm like, I could use their phone, I could call the cops, I could do what I need to do. So as I'm walking out, Chris goes, don't try to do anything stupid because I can see Rite Aid from here, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, whatever. I'm still going to go in and ask them to use the phone. So I go over to Rite Aid, I buy a pack of cigarettes, and then I tell the guy, can I use your phone? And he goes, we don't let customers use our phone. And I was like, no, seriously, I need to use the phone. I'm being held against my will. They're watching me from the window. I really need to call the cops or whatever. And he was like, yeah, okay, looking at me like I was stupid. I was like, can I please use your phone? He was like, I'm sorry, we can't. I was like, do you have a cell phone I can use? And he was like, no. And I got really pissed off, and I pushed everything off the counter, and I was like, you're a fuck up. And I don't know why I said fuck up, but I was just so pissed off he wouldn't let me use the phone. There was nobody else around me, no customers, no nothing. So it's not like I could be like, hey, let me use your phone. And if I ran out the door and ran the opposite way then back to the apartment, he would have seen me, so I didn't want to do that. So here I am, walking back to the apartment, pissed as hell because this guy wouldn't believe me and went back into the house. Again, days are passing. Now we're on like the 4th day, and they have all this change and stuff. And they're like, we got to change locations. We need to go to another place. We've been here too long. So they have all this change. And again, I'm the only one that's not wanted. And they're like, you're going to take this bike and you're going to ride down to Tops. For those who don't know what Tops is, it's a grocery store here. They said you're going to exchange all the change and then you're going to come back. And you're only going to do that, and you should only be gone for about 20 minutes. They gave me a 20-minute time frame, like I was a 13-year-old kid. So I get the change in the book bag, and I'm riding the bike, and I go in, and I walk in, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, what can I do? First things first, I called my sister-in-law. I took the change that was in the book bag, I put it into the telephone, I called my sister-in-law, and I was like, listen, I'm being held here, please three-way life right now. So she calls him, and he gets on the phone, and he's like, who's this? And I'm like, it's Cassera. He was like, oh, nice to finally hear from you. I was just about to put a warrant out for your arrest. And I was like, listen, you don't understand what I've been through. You don't understand what's going on. I could get beat the hell up because I'm sitting here trying to turn this guy in because you guys want to arrest me if I don't turn him in. Like, what kind of stuff is that? And again, at the time, I didn't know that I couldn't be arrested for it. So you're telling a young girl this who has 2 kids, who doesn't want her kids taken away, who doesn't want stuff on her record. So yeah, I had to do that. So I tell him where we're located at. I tell him what I'm doing right now. And he goes, just go back to the apartment, act like nothing's going on. So I go back to the apartment, and about an hour passed. The guy's apartment that it was, he was sleeping, and he comes running out of the room, and he's like, oh my God, the cops are at the office, and they're asking for me, and this and that, and blah, 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 and what do we do? So Chris is like, we got to get the fuck out of here. So he packs up all his stuff, and he's like, what are we doing? And he's like, we're jumping out of this window. Mind you, we're in this 2nd-story apartment. And those who don't know, I am deathly afraid of heights. I'm afraid to do anything like that. So Chris is like, no, we got to jump out. He goes, I'm going to jump out, and then you're going to jump out after me, and I will catch you. And I'm like, no, I'm scared shitless. Like, I can't do this. So he's like, if you don't jump out, I'm going to push you out before I go. So I'm like, okay, I'll jump out. So he makes sure he goes first because the other 3 people were going after me to make sure that I jumped out. So I finally get the courage, and I just jump, and I fall like to my legs, and I hit the ground. Chris didn't catch me. He tried to, but he didn't. And I made it though. I didn't do it. Everybody else jumps out, and they're like, let's go. We all start taking off. We're running. We're hopping fences. We're going through a Home Depot parking lot. We're crossing Mount Reed Boulevard. For those who don't know what Mount Reed is, it's a very busy street here. And we finally make it down to like this other house, and we're hiding behind a garage, and I'm like, what are we gonna do? What are we really gonna do? They get us a ride to go to Mike's friend's family's house, and we go there, and we're like hanging there for a few hours, and we're trying to figure out what to do, where to go. So I called my friend Sarah to see if we can stay with her for a few days, and she gladly accepted. And Mike at the time was like, I'll give her a couple $100 for letting us stay there, and this and that. So we were like, okay. So she comes and picks us up, and Mike wants to go to Walmart to grab a couple things. So it's me, Mike, Mike's friend's girlfriend, Sarah, and the other dude had stayed behind, so we all just went to Walmart. So Mike and his friend walk off in Walmart. Me, Sarah, and his friend's girlfriend go into the bathroom. Now I have my purse on me, and I don't know how to tell Sarah exactly what's going on. So I only had eyeliner in my purse, and I had a piece of paper, and I wrote on it, remember the address you picked us up from, go to a different phone, call this number, do this, blah, 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 blah. So I fold up the piece of paper, I put it in my hand, I act like I flushed the toilet, and we walk out. So me, Sarah, and her friend are walking in Walmart, and I'm getting really close to Sarah, like nudging her, like, hey, I gotta tell you something. And she's like looking at me, and I'm like trying to tell her shh, so the other girl don't hear me. And I grab her hand, and I put the paper in her hand, and she looks down, and she like this, and I'm like, so she's like, okay. So we get back to her house, and we're all just sitting there hanging out, whatever happened. So another day passes, and we're just chilling. Another day passes, and we're like there. Sarah's friend had came over, was hanging out. She left. She left, and like 10 minutes later she calls, and she's on speakerphone, and you can hear her saying like, get out, or something. We don't really know what's going on. So literally 5 minutes later, the cops come busting in the house. Boom, boom, everybody get down. Mike and his friend dart out the back door, go downstairs, and I'm upstairs stuck in here like, what is going on? And they go outside, and I don't know what's happening. They get him, whatever. I go out the front door, and I see them bringing him around with handcuffs. And I go outside, and they have him on handcuffs, and they have him sitting on the ground. Well, I go back upstairs. The cop comes in that I had been speaking with, and he's like, are you okay? Being really quiet, because nobody knows that I'm the one that set this up. Nobody knows at all till now, till this video right here. Well, when I testified, I didn't tell them that I was the one that told them where we were. So he's like, all right, let's clean this up and get them to wherever, and then I'll talk to you. So we go outside, and remember the cop from the first video that was like talking crap to me and, you know, putting me down and all that? Well, he happened to be out there too. And Mike was sitting on the back with his hand behind his back with the handcuffs on, and these two are going back and forth arguing. So the cop sees me. He's like, oh, look what we have. Look at you, back with this guy, blah, blah, blah. Mind you, he didn't know that I was the one setting him up. So these two are going back and forth like little high schoolers, a police officer and a guy in cuffs. And Chris was like, yeah, you think you're big and bad and blah, 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 blah. And the cop goes, yeah, well, I got your girl swinging right here. And he grabs his balls. And I'm looking at this cop like, dude, you are so childish. So Chris was like, yeah, you got my girl. He was like, you think you're big and bad? These handcuffs off of me and take that police uniform off you, and we'll see who's big and bad. So then other cops come in. They're like, hey, stop it, guys. You guys are being childish, whatever. So they're talking about how they have to take Mike to the hospital because when they went up to grab him, they whacked him in the back of the head with a walkie-talkie to like get him to stop running, and he was like gushing blood from the back of his head. So after everything gets cleaned up, the cop comes up to me. He's like, listen, I really appreciate you being a good sport, asking me what happened, taking statements, like all this. And I can just remember thinking like, I can't believe that they got him. Like, this is my opportunity, my chance to get out of this abusive relationship, to get away from all the heartache, the bruises, the scars, and everything. Like, I wasn't even sad. It was a bittersweet moment for me because, yeah, granted, I knew this was the end of me and Mike. But there was also some good memories, which there really wasn't none. But I just remember feeling empowered, like I did it. I escaped a domestic violence relationship. I escaped being beat up all the time. I escaped being hurt and being stuck. And I pretty much was like kidnapped. Like, it was the craziest thing that had ever happened to me. So, everybody knows what happens next. I ended up having to go to court a couple times and testifying and whichever. But I'm happy to say that I never got back with that man. I'm happily married to the best man ever who treats me so good, never laid a hand on me or nothing. I love him. He's the best, best, best. And I do not know what I would do without him. Do not know. And I just want everybody out there to know that if you see any signs of abuse, jealousy, anything, get out right then and there because it is not worth it. It is not worth the heartache. It's not worth the scars, anything. You can die in relationships like that. Get out now. So that is my story about the time I was held against my will. I'm going to be doing lots and lots more story time. If you want to know more about my domestic abuse relationship, comment down below and I'll do some more story times on that, which I am going to do, but more story times regarding anything. And then, you know, the funny stuff, the skits, the pranks, the fun. Me and my husband doing vlogs with the kids, all kind of stuff. This channel is to promote the realness because we are a real family. We are open. We are not get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and make breakfast together type of family. We're like, one person gets up at 8 o'clock, the other person does this. We have cereal. Sometimes we eat ice cream. Whatever it is, you know, we just do it. But yeah, so that was my story. And like I always say, if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing and supporting us. You'll love what we do. And for the ones that are subscribed, we love you, love you, love you so much. And I will see you guys later.